Hey, what's going on guys, this is FiveLargeFries, and today I wanted to give some feedback on the new UI for Hand of the Gods. So first of all, let's take a look at what it looks like in-game. And where do I begin? So let's start from the bottom and work our way up. And first of all, I really like what they've done here in the bottom left hand corner. It's easily visible how many cards you have, how much mana you have, etc. while also making the leader ability much more visible as well for new players. However, at the same time, for people who have already played this game, you'll notice that the mana is no longer on the right hand side. It is now obviously here on the left, and this is going to take some time to get used to. I honestly hope that they revert this and put the mana back, because I've made some crazy misplays where I thought I had X amount of mana when I had Y amount of mana, for example. Moving up the board, and this is where it starts to get a little bit ugly and it starts falling apart a little bit. And this new grid isn't toggle. You can't toggle this. It's permanently on. It's a nice feature for new players so they can see what's the board, what's not the board, where you can move to, things like that. But for people like myself who are existing players, I don't need this. I want to be able to toggle this off. I honestly do think it makes the board look a little bit uglier rather than making it look a little bit more unique and fresh and things like that. It doesn't suit, especially for existing players. Now, going to the leaders, they've removed the pedestals that they originally stood on, and this kind of feels a little bit of a step backwards, as it can and most certainly will confuse new players into thinking that they are now units that are playable, which, as you all know, they used to be, but now they aren't. This is going to be, like I say, it's going to confuse people, and it just seems odd that they just sort of float there, like in the back, and they don't do anything. It looks like they could do something, and they don't, which is a little disappointing. Now, going further up now, you can see that they have removed player names completely. Like, this is just silly in my eyes, especially if you're making content or you're a streamer, things like that, trying to promote the game, stuff like that. You're not going to know if you're going up against a bot or a real player. So for a content creator, they could just skip the little intro bit where the animations come up and go, oh yeah, look, I'm destroying these people, I'm really good at this game, when in fact they're just playing against a bot, and you won't actually know because you have no name there. It's not going to say Zeus, for example, and this example right here is me playing against a bot, just to prove that you can't tell that this is a player or not, which is really silly. I like what they've done to indicate the enemy's mana, their total cards and stuff in the top right, but I honestly think that they should, underneath this, at least show the player's name that you are going up against. This is a feature that was already in the game all the way through alpha and closed beta, and now obviously open beta, and they've removed it, and I think it's a silly idea. And of course, on the left hand side, you have a turn history. This seems a little bit more clearer and more accessible, which I think is really nice. And of course, you have these 3 dots here which bring up the main menu. Now let's go and take a look at the collection, and they've made some improvements while again obviously making some step backs, so it's like 2 step forward, 1 step back kind of thing here. So the first thing that I really like is when you hover over a card now, instead of having the unit pop up and make a really silly noise, which got really frustrating if you were hovering over many cards, you just get this horrible audio clutter. It was disgusting. But now they've made it so that a card pops up, there's not really much noise there, so it's quite nice in that respect. But they've limited it down from being 8 cards on screen to 6 cards on screen, which I think is really silly. There's a lot of space there that can be utilized, and they're just not utilizing it well. Honestly, other than that, I think that's a good change, that there's no audio clutter there, but I think having 8 cards on screen would be much better than having the 6 cards on screen. I understand what they're trying to do, making the cards bigger so you can read it more when you hover over it, but it doesn't really justify it really well, to be honest. But that's pretty much all I have for the UI. I hope that they listen and some of these maybe get put into the game, like suggestions and things like that, especially the whole names under the thing at the top right. I mean, that player name should just be in there. Like, otherwise, how are you going to tell if this is a bot that I'm playing against, you know? It's crazy. But that's it. if you enjoyed this, obviously hit the like or do all that YouTube stuff, you get the idea, and I'll see you in the next video.